Hello and welcome to Rauta's whiskey infused opinion video, which is a kind of a requested video topic from one of the subscribers. How it does feel to be an older metalhead or parent and then supporting your lifestyle, doing it, getting on with it and all that stuff. So without further ado, let's start talking about it in a brief manner, how it is, how age or parenthood or whatever things, how they affect how how it is different. Now, obviously, this is a compilation of thoughts on my own experiences and on my friends' behalf of them, because obviously people have different opinions how things go and how things are supposed to go, and each person lives his own life, and that obviously uh, means that different people decide to go different paths or routes and whatever when they are going on with their life, be it metal or otherwise. Obviously, in this episode of opinion videos, we're going to talk about this, how age or parenthood affects people. Now, I'm saying personally, I pretty much touched the subject when I was talking about this kind of a midlife crisis of a metalhead video. If you haven't watched it, I basically suggest you to watch it. I'm probably going to repeat some of the topics mentioned there, but I hope not too much. So I'm trying to figure out how is things different, how are things different compared to current life situation, or versus how it was when I was like more like 20s, how it is in my opinion, when I'm taking a look at my friends' lives when they have kids or they're married or they're older, and etc. And I must say, a lot of things have changed, and some things obviously hasn't changed, have not changed too much. And one thing is, people are more or less usually they have bigger wallets, so to speak. That is, people have more money than how it used to be when we were younger. But we also have less time for all the activities. So that is kind of the things that is, I think, is the most changed thing in this whole getting older part. Now, when we were 20s, pretty much everything we gained was pretty much consumed to our, like, was it paying rent, drinking booze, getting food, and whatever. So it's not like you have savings or anything. You just pretty much get the little pay you have, or maybe you're a student and don't get any real pay, and then you just spend it all on whatever you have. You pretty much had to be more picky when you're buying CDs, LPs, band t-shirts, going to different shows and whatever, because you didn't have that much money. Going to different cities was way more troublesome for the money. I mean, you just didn't have the luxury of going to hotels, or you were probably saving money in order to spend on booze when you're making a selection where to go, how to spend your night, or whatever. For example, festivals. You probably just went for the cheapest solution. So that is, you packed kind of a low price food, probably invested more in booze and all that stuff, rather than just, okay, let's get this nice hotel, or let's get a cabin or whatever. Let's invest more into higher quality food, or let's not even bring our own food, but rather buy it from the you know these kind of fast food places all over the place. So I think that kind of stuff has changed. Also, traveling to different countries, it's changed because people, on average, I mean, they have better livelihood, they have more money to spend on these trips. So for example, it's kind of easier in money wise to travel to different cities and just book hotels or whatever, just have nice life, don't worry about too much, like if it's gonna make a little cut in your wallet. But obviously, when you're older and you have responsibilities like a better job, or family, kids especially, but even like pets, which need to be taken care of, attended to, obviously these are more or less kind of problems you might have to solve. I mean, whether or not your partner is in crime with you for, in the sake of taking part of going to different festivals or gigs for over the weekend, and you have a kid, maybe you just need to figure out, like, hey, where's the kid gonna go? I mean, he or she just cannot just go with us for, I don't know, weekend full of boozing and seeing the bands. Maybe your partner in crime is just not able to come because he or she is taking, the kid, whatever. And obviously, sometimes your partner might not be into metal in the same way as you probably are. So these are all things which you kind of have to consider when you're like older. I mean, back in the days, whether or not you were single or not, I think many of us were more like, I wouldn't say ignorant or mean or anything like that, but kind of a more carefree. Like, I mean, hey, honey, if you don't want to go, I will. So see ya, or maybe don't. So it's more like we're kind of like carefree, and we maybe were more selfish in that respect also. And when people didn't have kids, people were all around going places. That is, if they could afford. Now the tricky thing is, now that people have this more money, it's not always that you have all this time in the world. Like I said, it's different being, career mom or dad and having kids or pets or all of them versus being a kid at I don't know, high school, university, or whatever. Because then you can just like pretty much like, it doesn't matter if I take a day off, nobody's giving me a hard time, or it doesn't matter if I skip class or whatever. But I think things change. Obviously, that has influenced a lot how people consume substances, especially alcohol, which is the general poison for everybody. Now, I can only talk on my behalf, but I think these are the things that have changed a lot. Back in then, when we were 20s and more carefree, it was more about boozing. Obviously, we wanted to see the bands, but I mean, it usually went hand in hand with drinking and all that stuff. Nowadays, I don't care to drink that much, really. I mean, the hangovers get worse, and in general, I don't want to kind of screw up my training, that is workout. So, I mean, I just I'm more like in the sipping mode, not so much getting drunk phase. And obviously, this makes these all these festival trips more tolerable, more easy. Still, obviously, after a weekend when you have been up until like I don't know 4 a.m. in the morning out with friends, it doesn't really matter if you had that all the booze or not. You're still kind of tired, and so when you come home, you're not exactly happy to start doing chores or whatever. So these are the kind of things. What happens now? If somebody was asking me like, "Hey, Jerry, care to give me a tip? How do you handle all these work-related things, family matters, and all that stuff?" I could just say like, focus on sleep, eat well, work out, don't drink too much booze. But obviously, when people want to have fun and drink booze, drink whiskey, beer, cider, whatever. I mean, why should I just say, okay, you need to stop that. You need to press the brake pedal and kind of settle down. Because I mean, in kind of in general, these festivals and gigs are much the same. Obviously, we've seen more bands nowadays. We probably more focus even more in the kind of a mingling situation, seeing old friends, and we might even skip bands because hey, I've seen that Marduk played a few times already. It doesn't matter if they're playing. I'm just gonna spend more time with friends. But obviously, life is like a puzzle. You just have to find the right pieces to fit together. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes life is like, I don't know, like swimming in water. I mean, it can be heavy, but everybody knows how to do it, right? So it's just like, it's like running, getting tiresome, but you don't have to think about it. You just do your things, work, school, family, relationship, and your everyday routine, buy your groceries and whatever. But it also kind of needs you to find those puzzle pieces. I mean, if you're lost, all with everything getting too stressful and all that stuff, it becomes kind of annoying. I mean, going to festivals can be a choreful thing, and that's what I mean when I see people getting older with kids and all that stuff. They start to skip these kind of festivals and gigs and whatever. And what it mostly, in my opinion, takes for people to understand is like you need to plan your shit out. That is, figure out when you have these important festivals. Prioritize those that are more important, whether it's about money or time or both, and then your family work and whatever. You just basically need to sort that stuff out. It's not that hard to go, in my opinion, to these fests and gigs or travel to another country or whatever in order to just enjoy the weekend out or whatever. But you need to kind of figure out what are your priorities. I mean, when people play this excuse card, like I cannot go because I have family, I have shit and that and blah blah blah. I think they're just making excuses because they are too lazy to plan that stuff out. Maybe in essence that kind of tells you a lot about what other priorities. I mean, I wouldn't say that nobody should abandon their family just in order to get wasted on a gig, but I don't think it has to be this kind of a trade-off. I mean, it doesn't like, okay, if I go out for Friday and Saturday night, then I will cook dinner for my wife for next 2 weeks. If you have to do that, maybe you have a more like a relationship problem than anything else. If you cannot take a day from work every now and then or fix your vacation or holidays or whatever, maybe you are in a wrong kind of place. I mean, these are not obviously always so simple things to change. I mean, we just can't shift from one job to another. We cannot just fix our relationship problems like that. But I mean, it's not really that hard. Plan, talk, figure out what you want to do. Figure out if you want to go to a fest. Start planning early enough. Don't wait until the last minute when all the hotels are booked, when your kids are without somebody to take care of them. I mean, plan ahead. Do your thinking. Save some money if you need to, and ta-da! Suddenly it's all there. I don't know if this video made any sense to you. It maybe it's just me randomly rambling once again, but since somebody asked for my ideas, my opinions, tips or whatever, there you have it. With whiskey. So I wish you a good planning with all the fests and gigs and stuff ahead of you. Start saving money, start planning, get to your fests and gigs, and don't blame at me when you're 75. Oh, you should have seen Marduk while they still played. Yeah, you should have.